What up? What up? What up? Panther Nation, Rockstar Gang. How are we? How are we? Take a little break in the day of the regular work life to come in here live at you to bring you some Carolina Panthers content. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. As you're coming in, make sure you pound the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That's it. Appreciate all the support that y'all bring every day, week in and week out. All right. Now, there are some things that we need to talk about here. And obviously we got the poll up. We got the poll up. Who should the Carolina Panthers hire as their next head coach? All right. We got the poll up over here on YouTube. If you're watching over here on Twitter, come and make sure you come over to the YouTube channel and check it out over here. But if you're over there, make sure you retweet it or hit the heart button for me. We got the poll up. It says, who should the Panthers hire as the next HC head coach? Evero, Morris, Canales, or other? Comment another coach. All right. So, let me know in the comments if you have somebody else in mind. Now, we all know that it seems like the top three candidates right now, as we know, it seems like it's Canales, Morris, and Evero. Clay PP said hit him up. Okay, I will. I'll hit him up. I like what he's doing over there. He's got some good insights. Kind of reminds me of myself a little bit. Like, I feel like me and him would probably be almost on the same page a little bit. Maybe some things we might disagree with, which that comes with the territory of content creation and talking about your team. So, who knows? But I think I like his channel over there. He's got a good channel. He knows what he's talking about too. He knows what he's talking about. So, there's a lot of new YouTubers out there bringing some content, man. I've noticed a lot of guys. That's awesome. Hey, I mean, sometimes that's how it works. Sometimes someone else gets to it before the person gets to it, because we're not, like, as us guys, as we're like talking about it, maybe a certain subject, we're not always looking, and y'all know that we're not always looking at the comments, you know what I mean? So I didn't make a PowerPoint presentation today. All right, so I'm gonna be honest, I didn't make a PowerPoint presentation because I really wanted to come at this from the heart a little bit more. I wanted to bring you more of just me and you seeing me. I really wanted to come on here today, just kind of just spill my heart out today, because number one, I'm going to make two cases for Ejiro Evero, and I'm going to make a case for Raheem Morris today. All right. Just popped in to hit the like button, heading to work, keep pounding. Yeah, man, Josh, have a good day at work, man. Have a good day at work. My day is not done. I'm just taking a little break. Every time I go live, besides it, like if I go live at 4 or 5 o'clock, that's because I'm done for the day. But if I'm live, during this time of the day, it's just me taking a break. Don't work too hard, Josh. Josh, work harder, not smarter. That's what I've come to learn. That seems to be the way things get done a lot easier, right? So, we are in this world, right? Because of the Panthers carousel. And PP over there, the Primetime Panthers, I'm pretty sure it's Primetime Panthers podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the name. That's why it's called PP. He was saying that, and it made me think a little bit, that he's right. Like, we haven't had, like, if you think about it, in the past 4 years, right? Basically, or the past 4 coaches, right? You hired Matt Rule immediately after Ron Rivera in January. Lasted 2 years, and then you fired him, got Steve Wilkes, hired him to interim, fired him, basically. Not necessarily fired him, just let him walk. But then Frank Wright, and of course Ron Rivera before the whole Matt Rule thing, all that. And basically in this short period of time, you've gone through 4 head coaches, basically. So this time around, you have to get it right. If you don't get it right there, then it's more of an issue with you. It's not the coaching. I think it comes down to the fact that we need to stop blaming the game on the coaching staff when we need to be looking elsewhere, right? The thing is that we all know that this has just been a carousel. And that's why I put the poll up there because I want to know y'all's thoughts. Who you think is the next best head coach? Evero, I think has since he has ties in here, his resume speaks, right? Um he comes from the Shanahan tree, right? And he comes from the Shanahan tree. It's crazy. If you didn't know, which we're going to dive into more, Raheem Morris, same thing. Shanahan McVay tree. Canales came from the Pete Carroll tree. Canales is the only other guy besides Dan Quinn that I've heard of that came from the Pete Carroll tree, right? And then you got other guys. You got Ben Johnson, but I don't see that happening. I mean, so there this whole thing is just like I said, it's a carousel that we are just riding this thing out, and it's just a constant roller coaster. It's just like I said in the description of this live stream. The front office decisions are as perplexing as you trying to do a Rubik's cube in the dark, right? Like it's very difficult to really wrap your brain around, and it's very difficult to make the right decisions, right? Um, I think that when you okay, Suleiman is the latest to grab it. He's the one who's grabbing a seat elsewhere now. He's gone, right? Former vice president of football administration. We parted ways with him, which is part of that restructuring that we're doing. So maybe he got tired of dancing to the wrong tune or realized he was on a sinking ship. Who knows, right? Whatever the case may be. Now, Suleiman and now the GM, right? Dan Morgan, were like the dynamic duo of the Panthers, the Batman and Robin in that front office antics, kind of. But Suleiman's departure, it seems like Robin's flown the coop and leaving Batman, or Morgan in this case, really to clean up this mess. So that's the issue, right? Suleiman, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this guy's name right. Um, was supposed to be the numbers guy, the wizard of contracts, the master of negotiations, hired from the Steelers with high hopes, and now he's on that departure list. Okay, so the magic didn't work out. Okay, and speaking of magic, now you enter Brant Tillis, right? That's the Panthers' potential wizard in the shining armor, maybe the new Robin, right, coming in from Kansas City, and the Chiefs, who are known for their offense, right? Apparently, they've got some front office magic too. Tillis is the Panthers' top target to fill that Robin like role beside Dan Morgan because every team needs a numbers guy, right? I mean, wouldn't you say so, chat? Like, wouldn't you say that every team needs a numbers guy? Because let's not forget about the Rooney rule, right? The little dance the Panthers have to do right before handing over the keys to the executive kingdom. So when it comes to this interviewing a minority or a female candidate, you have to check that box out. Then swiftly move on to the predetermined favorite, right? Efficiency at its finest. Okay, that's what it is. So the front office carousel is spinning, and I don't know where it'll stop. I don't know. And if Tillis and Morgan see eye to eye, I expect a lightning fast hire. Now, the future of the Panthers just depends on how quickly they can find that numbers guy. Okay. I think Evero is more likely because he always goes for defensive minded head. I think Evero is more likely because we always go for defensive minded head coach because that's the best part of the team. Yeah, I think the issue is that the Evero needs to find a better scheme, right? Like the numbers don't lie. Like I was listening to the Panther Nation podcast, PNP, and Rashad said something very interesting. Like Dave made a comment, yeah, we finished the year fourth in yards per game, right? And Evero did an excellent job, I think, when it comes to what he did with this defense. Okay. The issue is that I have is that I don't think that 3-4 scheme that David Tepper wanted. Now, let's make this clear. David Tepper wanted that 3-4 defense. Okay. He's the one who came in there and was like, we wouldn't need to run a 3-4 defense. Why he thinks that, I have no idea. Right. Again, the guy just needs to stick to hedge funds and let the football guys do football things. This team was better off in a 4-3, but what Evero did with this team, with all the injuries and all the issue, is nothing but remarkable, I think. So, yeah, we finished top 4, but that's the on if we look at the stats, if we look at the players' stats and look at these guys' stats, they really didn't finish top 4. All right. And stats don't lie. Numbers don't lie. We all know that. So, again, that is the issue that we're having here, of course, is because of a meddling owner. All right. That's what we figured out. Guys, also check this out. I just figured that out today. Watch this. Confetti. And then watch this. Oh, it's not going to give it. Is it not going to do it? No. Oh, there it goes. Raining. Boo. And then this one's cool. Thumbs up supposed to do something, but it didn't work. I don't like him. Matt Chatter, who do you really like? Who do you like? Clay, who's your friend? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Chada Chosinko want on my Battlehawks. Interesting. That would be cool to see him in the in that league. What if Evero is promoted and we get Canales as the OC? I mean, James, I just don't think there's a world that happens. I think Canales actually wants to be a head coach, and that's why he's getting interviewed for one. If that's the case, I think he would just stay in Tampa Bay, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't want to stay in Tampa Bay. It could be a possibility. I mean, I've heard rumors that if Evero got hired, he would try to bring back Thomas Brown, and I don't think anybody would want that. I think even Raheem Morris, if he came here, I'm sure he has ties with Thomas Brown, and I don't think anybody in their right mind would want Thomas Brown back here as the offensive coordinator. I think the key is that defensively we need to make some adjustments. And offensively, we need to build around Bryce. But I think it all depends who the next GM and the next head coach is. Now, when I mean GM, I'm talking about the numbers guy who handles the cap space, because the guy who's handling the cap space is going to be talking with Dan Morgan saying, hey, we need to get rid of this guy because his contract doesn't make sense. You know, something like that down the line, right? For example, Dante Jackson this year, right, it's going to be making $15.8 million if we don't trade him before the June 1st designation line. I think it's June 1st or July 1st designation line, one or the other. But you got to make some moves. There's some we're in a cap space purgatory right now with only $28.5 million to work with. That's not going to work in the free agency if you don't have the money to spend, and you're not going to be able to bring in some guys in depth if you don't. And unfortunately, honestly, guys, I won't be surprised if there's some guys that are on this team that we don't want that are still going to be here because that they can't afford to bring in more talent, and they don't have the draft picks enough for guys to come in and be day one starters. They don't have enough. We don't have a first round pick, right? So there's a lot of issues here that need to be panned out, not only from Dan Morgan, but from, when the numbers guy comes in, whoever they hire to be his Robin, right? And we talked about that yesterday. So, it comes down to the fact that David Tepper has to have that Midas touch, right? So he has to turn everything he lays hands onto into dumpster fire, because he has. If you think about it, ever since David Tepper has gotten here, He needs to learn how to have that Midas touch because everything else he has touched now has turned into a dumpster fire. The front office has become a theater of the absurd. We know that. And Tepper is that ringmaster running this circus. Okay. So as we have to brace ourselves for another round of this whole coaching roulette, which is what we're going through right now. If we outline the 3 traits that Tepper should be desperately searching for in his next head coach, I think there's a couple things we need to talk about, right? We do. Who do people act as if the draft ends after first round? Listen, I get that. I'm just saying we don't have a first round pick. Yes, there is a lot of there. We do have draft picks. But again, we don't have a first round draft pick. And I'm not necessarily saying we necessarily need one, but if we're going to do this rebuild right, I truly believe that we need to go through the draft because free agency right now is very thin. And the draft cap and the cap space that we do have is very thin. We're going to have to we're going to have to maneuver some contracts and we're going to have to figure out who we're going to trade to get some draft capital. But again, I just won't be surprised if there's guys on this team that coming next season that are on this team now that we don't necessarily want on this team here next year because we need the depth. That's all I'm saying. Double Kane, double O Kane, double O Kane. So I think that the thing is the Carolina Panthers need great leadership qualities in their next head coach, whoever that may be, whether it's Morris, whether it's Canales, whatever it's Evero, whoever out of that top 3 right now, because let's face it, the last 2 hires were about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. All right. We had Matt Drool up there saying the same thing every single time. We had Frank Wright, who was basically Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. All right, Mr. Depression, looked like he drank a 12 pack of Budweiser and smoked about 2 packs of Marlboro Reds. Right. I mean, like I said, it's more the coaches that we've had here is more like Laurel and Hardy of coaching. One lacking accountability and the other woefully, basically, the other one was just, I think, basically was unprepared. And it's time to bring someone in here who can actually lead this team and holds players accountable, like a shepherd guiding his lost sheep, right? That's the way I look at it. Forget about the past mistakes and Tepper has done. Consider someone like Steve Wilkes, whom you foolishly passed over, a leader of men, not a follower. That's who Steve Wilkes is. First rounders are cool, but we need Dan to hit on rounds 2 through 7. Yeah. And there is some late guys, most definitely. I've already put my draft board together. I've got my draft board done, guys, by the way. Got it completely done. All my scouting reports on each and every player. Certain positions I just did top 10. And certain positions I did even up to top 15, top 20. Right? I'm not going to go through each and every player. Like, that's just ridiculous. Too many there's too many cats and coming out of this draft. So I narrowed it down to the guys that I felt like, on my draft board that I wanted to really particularly like look at, break down, stuff like that. And I put them together on a draft board. They're all in my Google Docs, and I have separated them by Google Docs, by the way, just so you know. Do you disavow works of the devil? Matt Chatter, this stuff we're talking football here. Okay? We're talking football here. I could care less about any of that. So you can go ahead and get that devil worshiping shit out of my chat. Carolina Panthers, I think also the issue is we need a legitimate plan. Okay? 6 seasons of Tepper reigns. What is the plan? Right? Trading for a quarterback equivalent of a paperweight in Sam Darnold. Uh Cutting a legend in Cam Newton only to follow up with this enigma that is Teddy Bridgewater. Like, Scott Fitter's plan to trade it for Bryce Young, a quarterback stranded on an island of incompetence. Houston Texans had a plan surrounding their rookie quarterback with talent, made the playoffs. Shocking, you know? I mean, Tepper enough with the buzzwords that this guy uses, um, and the pastoral mannerisms that he uses. Get someone with a real plan, not a collection of empty promises, right? David Tepper needs to look for someone unlike him, right? That's what we need. Tepper is a billionaire. He has with a worldview as limited as this team's success. You hire Matt Rule because of the similar backgrounds. Genius move. Well, no, it's time for Tepper to realize that maybe, just maybe, someone else understands football better than he does. You bring in Frank Wright, another clone, another step back. Tepper is not about hiring that your doppelganger. All right, Tepper, stop hiring doppelgangers. It's about finding someone with a different perspective, a fresh pair of eyes. The name circulating this higher circle might just be the antidote to your self-inflicted football ignorance. So whoever your quest is for this next head coach, remember those 3 traits. Tepper, remember, you need to hire leadership, someone with a real plan, and someone unlike yourself. If you want to break the cycle of mediocrity, or better yet, step aside and let someone else who has a clue take the reins. Because for us Panthers fans and everyone else in this channel who follow me, support me, and all these Panther fans around the United States, because, who knows, that we might have more in other states, deserve better than the comedy errors you have orchestrated so far. Guys, make sure you pound the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. Also, make sure you go check out the link tree down below. Feel free to join the Discord. All my social media is above. Get in the comment section. Love to hear your thoughts as we go throughout today's channel. I did not put a PowerPoint together, so this is just me speaking from the heart. Okay? This is just me speaking from the heart today. Yeah, I always put notes together for my show. Just what I want to talk about and stuff like that. But today's been more off the heart today. And I love to hear y'all's comments as we talk about things. All right. I like Dan when it comes to getting the boys motivated, but he also has one of the ones that drafted these bumps. Yeah, Oasis. I watched some of that tape again, like of him sitting back in that draft room. And then I've read it. I still can't find this article, but I swear I saw an article, and Marcos can back me up on that, who's in the chat. I have found an article that said that Dan Morgan didn't want any of the draft picks in this past draft. Did not agree with them. And I've also heard that he had no say in what they were doing. And that's probably why we didn't see him say anything very much in that up front office in that video. Whether that's true or not, I do understand where you're coming from with that, because could be. Yeah, I'm serious. I got to find that article. I have searched night and day for it since yesterday, and I cannot find it. I swear I read it, and it might have been it might have been on Twitter that someone posted the article. So maybe I'll have to go through Twitter. But again, so that's what I've heard. Another thing about Dan that I do like Oasis, though, is that the players like him, coaches like him. Greg Olson says he's a great evaluator of talent. Greg Olson went on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and talked about Dan getting hired. So he's a player himself, so he can relate. He knows how to win football games and knows what it takes to make it to a Super Bowl because he was on our Super Bowl team here. So I think that makes him a guy who can be a great player, personnel, scout kind of guy. I think that's why they're going to pair him up with an analytics guy, like they're talking about this dynamic duo, right, in the front office. So basically, they're going to have a CEO who Dan Morgan will be. Then they have a COO who will be that analytics guy, and which obviously the name that has been thrown around for that is Brant Tillis out of the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll see. Again, the biggest thing that I want Carolina Panthers fans to understand is this. No matter who we hire as our next head coach, and no matter who the analytics guy is, and even with Dan Morgan as our new GM, do not expect to turn this whole thing around in just 1 year. This is going to take 2 to 3 years because of how many times we have started over because of our meddling owner. So I want you to know, do not get upset next year if this team only wins 5-6 games. Because looking at the schedule and the opponents that we play next year, I will be surprised if we win 5-6 games. And it also depends on this roster, what moves they make, who they bring in, who they draft. So I think, again, it all depends. Oasis, I think that if this sportsology firm that is involved with this, right? Okay. If they're the ones consulting David Tepper, right? And if the thing is that they did the same thing in San Francisco and in LA. All right. And I think somewhere else. I think they did it was LA, San Fran, and there was another organization that this consulting firm has worked with. And they have seen success with what they have done every single time. They turned that San Francisco team in 2013. It took it 3 years now, but they were in the Super Bowl 3 years later. Now, obviously, Jim Harbaugh was a part of that, right? Because Jim Harbaugh was the head coach. But they brought him in, and look what happened, right? They brought in a new GM. Look what happened, right? So they brought Adam Peters in. They brought all these guys in, and it started winning football games. So the question is this firm that they're working with consulting him saying, hey, don't mess with it. Don't get involved. Like, don't meddle. Don't be meddling. I think they are. I have a feeling that they are. So I don't think Tepper is going to be as hands-on now. I think because that's the reason why he hired this firm. I think Dan's going to have a little bit more to say, and I don't think Tepper would step up to him because that's a big man. Guy's like 6'3", 200 and something pounds, right? Or 6'4", maybe 6'5", but he's a big dude. I think Dan would stand up to Tepper if Dan, and now in the position that he's in now, I think I could see him stepping up. We need a Nick Loomis. Yeah, most definitely. On the analytics side, most definitely. On the analytics side, Vietnam, absolutely. 5, more like 2. Probably. I mean, again, I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt of 5-6 wins. Every year is different, unpredictable. Nobody went into this year thinking we only win 2 games. Got to let the offseason play out. I totally agree as well, Double O'Kane. I definitely Double O'Kane. I definitely agree for sure. More like 7 million dead cap if cut Hurst. Yeah. You can't. Unfortunately, you won't be able to cut Hurst. You might be able to trade him, but I still think we would take some dead cap. That will improve the team if so, for sure. Absolutely. I think I think Dan is absolutely gonna have more say than a lot of people think. I really, really do. And I think the analytics guy is also gonna have a lot more say. So whoever that Batman and Robin right now, Dan Morgan's Batman, whoever that Robin is that they bring in, like the name's been thrown around, Brant Tillis. I think these guys are going to have more to say because of what this sportsology consulting firm is consulting David Tepper to do, right? And he hired them to do that. So I think he's understanding now that he has to take a step. And that's the reason why I believe that he won't fuck it up. And I think he's going to let the football guys actually do the football things. And we'll see. I think it's just like Double O'Kane said, though. Every year is different and every year is unpredictable. That is the storyline of the NFL every offseason. And, nobody predicted us to only win 2 games this year. Hell, I thought we were going to win the division and I thought we were going to win 10 games and I ate my crow, right? I bought into the hype and I've been eating my crow this whole year, right? So we got to let it see how this offseason plays out. Who they bring in as the analytics guy, I think they're going to get that done before they hire their next head coach. I think they'll bring in an analytics guy before that, but I could be wrong. They might hire their head coach this week before the analytics guy. I know that they are going to get another guy in there to help Morgan out to maneuver that cap space. So, because there's multiple reports out there. So we shall see. We shall see who that may be, though. Here's the thing, though. So we're talking about coaches, right? Because we are in this Hollywood blockbuster of this coaching carousel, right? And we all know David Tepper's decision-making are very unpredictable as a coin toss. Now that Dan Morgan has taken over, right? It's time to play. We're playing coaching lottery now. Okay. All right. There's 3 head coaching candidates whose stock is soaring through now, right? Evero, Morris, and Canales. But there's another guy out there that is also, I believe, has moved up. And the Panthers could hire Dan Quinn. All right. Dan Quinn, a defensive-minded head coach, right? But he kind of crumbled faster than a cookie under pressure back in Dallas in the playoffs, though. That's the only thing I have to say about him. Because, sure, he and Dan Morgan go way back, but so does my grandma and her recipes, okay? Doesn't mean they're all winners, okay? But despite a catastrophic collapse against the Packers, which is what it was, the Panthers are giving Quinn a second chance. I think it's a bit underwhelming, right? I think it's a bit underwhelming because Tepper's bar for success seems to be sinking faster than Titanic. So why not? Let's roll. They're going to try. They could roll the dice with Quinn. They could promote Evero, right? Because clearly mediocrity deserves a step up, right? Sure, the Panthers had a poor performance overall. But Evero's ability to keep things together is being hailed like he's the second coming of Vince Lombardi. Multiple interviews, interest from other teams. Must be doing something right. Or maybe the bar is set so low that anyone, really, who didn't accidentally set the building on fire is a coaching genius. Then you got Dave Canales, the lone wolf, the coaching of the coaching wilderness. This guy coming from that Pete Carroll tree. He's the Panthers' shiny new toy that they're looking at, right? High praise from recently fired head coach. I mean, that's like getting a glowing review from a chef who burnt the whole kitchen down. Only the Panthers are showing interest, and reports suggest he's the potential front runner. So why is Dave Canales? This is a question I have to have. Why is Dave Canales only getting an opportunity from the Carolina Panthers? Because when you're the only horse in that race, winning isn't exactly an achievement. That's the thing. Like, I made my case why I would hire Canales, yesterday, but it does make me think as to why is he not getting any other opportunities elsewhere besides here? You know what I mean? Why is he only getting a head coaching interview here and not with these other teams? You thought we were going to win division? It's dude. I'm still eating my crow. My mouth is about as it's pretty damn dry. With the Panthers, when expectations are low, we usually do okay. This might be the 10-win year, right? Because now our expectations low, and then they go out and win football games. All of a sudden, good. I'll be pissed. Like if I make a prediction, this team wins 2 games again next year. Like let's say if I do that, I'll have to look at the true schedule once it finally comes out. I don't think the full schedules finally come out. But when I do my early predictions and I pick like 5, 6 games, let's say if I do that, I might stay there. I might say 5 or 6 games. I might just stick with that. And at least if they do win 10, it's like I'm not too far off. You know what I mean? Double okay. But, it's bad. It's bad. No, bring in Canales. All right. So we got some Canales got people in here. I can see Canales is winning the poll, by the way. Canales is winning the poll. Evero's at 20%. I'm surprised no one voted Morris. Morris has a great resume, and we're going to talk about that here shortly. Raheem Morris has a great resume. He has a better resume than Evero and Canales. Guy's a 2-time Super Bowl winner. All right. Comes from the Shanahan tree and the McVay tree. He's got a very nice resume. Just let y'all know. We're going to talk about him today. We're going to talk about Mr. Raheem Morris. I kind of like him, guys. I ain't going to lie. I kind of like Mr. Raheem Morris. I kind of like him. Hell no on Quinn. Remember Super Bowl 51, Quinn team. Yeah, I know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Quinn either. What do you think about Vrabel? I like Vrabel. The problem is he's not getting any interviews. He's not getting an interview here. I don't even know if he's getting any interviews anywhere else. I haven't heard him get any interview. He might be taking a year off, or he might be just thinking about taking a defensive coordinator job. I don't see him anywhere in the news getting any interviews. Yeah, I don't see him anywhere getting in interviews. He's currently getting an interview in Atlanta. So is Atlanta the only one that is he the only one that's getting an interview there? I heard Seattle was interested in him. But apparently Mike Vrabel can pick and choose what he does next. So, he's got that going for him. But I don't know. I don't know where he's going next, guys. I really don't. I mean, obviously Atlanta's interviewing him, but apparently the Seattle Seahawks are, looking into him. So we'll see. We shall see, guys. I like Vrabel, though. I think Vrabel could be a guy that comes in here, changes the culture. He's going to run a smash mouth offense, so he's going to need a running back, though. That's the issue. If you're going to run that smash mouth offense to take the pressure off of Bryce, you're going to need a power back, and we don't have that. I don't think Chuba Hubbard's a power back, and I don't think he's an RB1. I think Chuba Hubbard did his thing this year. He did a good job, but I still don't think it's enough for him to be considered RB1. I think he's an RB2, and you need to get a guy that can come in here and be a workhorse if you want Mike Vrabel. And defensively, he's a hell of a coach. I think Mike Vrabel is one of the best defensive minds, geniuses in the NFL. I don't think he would run a 3-4 defense. I'm pretty sure he runs a 4-3, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look. So I don't know if that would match up well when it comes to the scheme fit, what they're really trying to run here in Carolina, because Mr. Tepper wants to run a 3-4 defense. Why that is beyond me. Still don't understand that, and don't understand why the football guys listen to him in the first place. But that's neither here nor there. I kind of want to see what scheme he runs. I'm pretty sure he runs a 4-3. Yeah, he runs a 4-3 front. That's what I figured. That's what I figured. He runs a 4-3 front. That's what I figured. So they do got history together. So, I mean, again, that's what it also comes down to when you're hiring these next head coaches, right? Is does the GM's vision match up with the head coach's vision, right? Does the game plans match up? So that's what it comes down to. Does Variable or Evero or Raheem Morris or Dave Canales or whoever it may be that comes in here, right? Does the vision match up? That's what it takes. The D was good. The offensive line on paper was good, but underperformed. I don't think the offensive line is very good. I think the offensive line definitely missed Christensen and Corbett for sure. I think Ike Ekwonu had one of the worst sophomore slumps I've ever seen. Allowed 11 sacks and over 40 plus pressures, and he thinks that he can play at an elite level at left tackle. That's a big question mark for me. Because when were you elite in the first place? Right? When the question is for Icky, when were you elite in the first place? That's what I got to ask that guy, him. Like, Icky, let me know when you were elite. You were good when we were running that power run, sure. When we were running the ball more, but when you're not very good at pass protecting and you are slow off the line. Bryce was bad. Bryce was bad, but he also, again, had an offensive line that resembled Swiss cheese. So I think anybody would play bad. And you had wide receivers that couldn't get open and catch. You also had that. Besides a 33-year-old Adam Thielen, who's your wide receiver one, that still remains to me still an issue. The guy worked with Breeze, made Baker look like a pro. Canales worked with Breeze, yes. But Breeze was just a different cat. Yes, he definitely Canales did rejuvenate Geno Smith, but before Canales and Geno before Geno got there, I mean, they were already a 10-win team in Seattle before Geno got there. But he did rejuvenate that guy's career because Geno was a turnover machine. So he probably taught Geno how to take care of the football, but it also helps when you have a DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both in their prime, right? That's the only thing I would have to say to that. But Baker too, Chris Godwin, Oten stepped up this year. Palmer stepped up this year. Rashad White, that offensive line. Baker Mayfield had a rejuvenate career there too. But that's because I would say Canales is part of that, right? But I also would say that the players around him also benefited, right? It also benefited to that. Hurst, Minga, Thielen, Chark should have been good. Should have, but weren't. So he could fix our offense. I think the guy can. I think the guy could fix our offense. Again, but it also comes down to, I think that the talent that you put around this team. Like, you can have great coaches and coaches can do a lot when it comes to talent, but I still think that you still need to put some talent around Bryce Young. If you want to work on his development, you need to also be able to put talent around him. I'm still a big believer in that. Same thing that happened down in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. Look what happened when they put talent around him. Started winning football games. We do have, but that is another thing, and I'm glad Matt Chatter said that. We do have a culture issue. We don't have an identity here. The keep pounding identity, I don't remember the last time I've felt that culture. So we need a guy that's also going to come in and be a culture builder. Hold guys accountable, right? Leadership, right? Those three things that we need in our next head coach. That's what I was mentioning before. We don't need someone to come in here and be a doppelganger of David Tepper. We need a guy who can come in here with a legitimate plan, a guy that's going to change the culture, a guy that is going to bring great leadership skills and lead this team the right way. That is what it is going to take. No, me neither. I get that. I get that. So I see why you're saying about Vrabel, but Vrabel is a very good coach. I understand that he had Derrick Henry running the ball there, but he took Ryan Tannehill to the playoffs. He has a winning record. He's won in the playoffs. So that would be my only argument to Vrabel. He's also a culture changing head coach, and players love him. Players want to play for him. That's what also matters. He's currently getting an interview in Atlanta, so good for him, though. Good for him. I won't be surprised if Atlanta hammers him a little bit hard. Pause. Hammers him a little bit hard. Yeah, can't say that on live. Can't say that on live. Come on, Clay. I saw maybe Seattle might be in the mix. I saw that Seattle has shown some interest. I don't see anything out there saying they're going to interview him. You think a head coach will be hired this week? Chris, it could. I really think that they're going to try to get that analytics guy, that Robin for Dan Morgan. I think they're going to try to hammer Brant Tillis to come in and be the analytics guy for them. But we'll see. I think that the head coach will come in February. I think the head coach will come in February. I really do. I think it's going to be another week or two before they hire the head coach. I think they need to take their time with this. I really do. Because if you think about it, they've hired guys like that, right? I think we've now are taking, yes, you want to get the interviews going. You want to interview all these guys, but you want to seriously take your time because we haven't. We've never taken our time, right? We've never taken our time. We've just hired guys right off the rip. They did it with Frank Wright, hired him in January, hired Matt Rule in January, right? I think that like PP Primetime over there, Primetime Panthers podcast said, slow your roll. And I think he's right. We don't have no Derrick Henry. We don't. So that would be an issue with Vrabel. But he might hire someone else to be the offensive coordinator so they might run a different style of offense instead, right? And let Vrabel be the defensive guy. I mean, that's something that they would do, they could do. Only running back we should keep is Hubbard as our 2. Yeah, we need to get someone else in here. Like I said, I think our number 1 back is we got to get somebody in here who can be a powerhouse, a workhorse. 3-4 is old school. It is old school. 4-3 is where you need to be. I don't want that old boring ass run first offense. Listen, I wouldn't be mad if we brought back a smash and dash all over again. I would not be mad if we brought back that Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams days. I'm just telling you. I wouldn't be mad about it. My strategy, trade away all D, build weapons for Bryce. If we stink, still he gone. Again, we're married to Bryce for at least another 2 years, guys. So just go ahead and understand that. I think that whoever we do get as a coach, they got a lot of work in front of them. They sure do. And Dan Morgan does too. And the guy that they get to do the analytics alongside Dan Morgan, those 3 guys are going to have a shit ton of homework to do. We need to build an offense off of what Bryce does well. Right. Not keeping him in the pocket, Phenom. That's where it starts. When you keep Bryce Young in the pocket, that's where he does not shine. If you go watch his freaking game film, you don't keep that kind of kid like that in the pocket. You move him out. That's where he shined. You can't keep him stagnant like that. It doesn't work. If they fail to build an offense around Bryce, it will kill his career. Everybody's calling him a bust already. I'm 50-50 on the kid. I want to see what he can do. All right. I want to see, but he needs to pull a Jalen Hurts and start doing some powerlifting and get bigger. He needs to eat all the Bojangles chicken he can get and start powerlifting and have a two. He needs to have like 2 or 3 protein shakes so he can have some arms like that, right? He needs to put on some weight. You know what I'm saying? That's what he needs to do. Our offensive line is Swiss cheese and expires in 2 seconds. Yes, Pantherator X. Thank you. God, that's too good. That is too good not to like. Oh man, that is too good. I got to star that comment. That is too funny. That is too funny. Panther Raider X, you hit the nail on the head, man. You hit the nail on the head. I want a flying offense like Breeze ran, something like Green Bay runs. I think a West Coast. I mean, we already kind of ran a West Coast offense, right? But I think that you need to run a Golf is more mobile than Bryce. Match Hatter, you are out of your mind if you think Golf is more mobile than Bryce. You are out of your mind. Jared Goff does not move out of that pocket ever. Ever. And he's not more mobile. I think that you need to run a Miami style offense, but you're going to have to get some speed and an offensive line that can protect him, but you're going to need to get some speed on the outside. I think you need to get the ball quickly out of his hands. I think also offense you could run is what Stefanski ran when they had Baker Mayfield in his rookie year, where they were bootlegging him out and letting him throw on the run. And look what Baker did. I think that's what you need to run. You need to run that kind of style of offense for Bryce. But again, I still think Bryce needs to put some weight on. I think he needs to put some muscle. Matt Chatter, you are speaking out of your ass now with these quarterbacks saying they're more mobile. You are speaking out of your ass. Rock Jones, I totally disagree. I don't, guys, if you go watch what the kid did in Alabama, he was not a guy who was stagnant in the pocket. The NFL is transitioning to the Lamar Jacksons of the world. That is what this NFL is transitioning to. It's transitioning to more mobile quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence can even move. That's where the NFL is going. It's transitioning to that. It's not the pocket passers is not what's winning football games anymore. Go look. It depends on it. I think it can work. Don't get me wrong. I think the pocket passers can still work, but I think it's depending on the style and the scheme that fits the players. And I think that's another thing you got to get. Bryce is not a guy that needs to be stagnant in the pocket. It just doesn't work. I just don't think it would work. I think Matt Chatter, this statement's correct. This one actually makes some sense. So I would be willing to agree with that. I would also say bring in another, like get him a number 1, but also I would draft a wide receiver as well. Bring in some extra help and a tight end and a running back and some offensive line. The keep pounding culture was still here when Steve Wilkes was the interim. That's the only last time I would say I've seen it, Panther Raider X. That's the only time I would say I've seen it. That was not last year, but the year before that. Yeah, don't say that. Oh yeah, when I said pause. I think if you play bad for a coach, good for a coach, and then bad for another, that's an issue. Work hard or get out. If you don't stink, you can find good running backs later rounds. Yeah, you can. I disagree. Performs like that again, he's done. Carson Wentz style. I don't think so. I agree with you. Speedy spit hiring. Just don't. Bryce Young will be better if they let him scramble. I think you got to let him move a little bit. I'm not necessarily saying the guy's got to be Lamar Jackson because he doesn't move like Lamar Jackson. Okay, but can't keep him stagnant. He just is not a guy that you keep in the pocket. He's not. I would agree with this statement. Deep ball is better for sure. And I think that's something that Bryce needs to work on is his deep ball accuracy. Absolutely. Haven't had Bojangles in a year. Dude, Bojangles is the shit. Kind of making me hungry now. We need Young under center more often. Yeah, I totally disagree with that. Bryce could create pressure so he could get out the pocket, watch the tape. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen the kid make multiple first down plays with his legs. And he knows how to slide. He's smart when it comes, guys. He is very smart when he is out the pocket. He makes smart moves when he runs. We've never seen him take a true big hit when he runs. The only time that he was actually hurt was when he was in the pocket. So it makes more sense to get him out, especially when your offensive line can't block for shit and they represent Swiss cheese. We don't have Lamar, but under center helps play action tremendously. Sure. But throw some he needs some bootlegs. I'm not necessarily saying every play Bryce Young has to be out the pocket. Okay? Not saying every play, but definitely you want to throw more in there. Definitely want to throw more in there. The bright side, we're only 50 pieces away from a decent team. Oh my God, we're more far from that. Bryce creating his own pressure is a crazy take, in my opinion. Then Jags ate poo. Bryce ate poor Bryce up. Yeah, they did. You can't just keep the kid stagnant. That's all I'm saying. I'm not necessarily saying every play, but I think you definitely need to throw some bootlegs, throw some play actions, him getting out the pocket a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. I think we would see a different. The defenses, we played 8 tons of Swiss cheese, and then they enjoyed it even though it was expired. Yeah. It was bad, man. It was bad. All right, let's talk about, here's another topic I want to bring up, okay? Because, again, as in the description, the Carolina Panthers, the decisions that they have made in the past is like trying to do a Rubik's Cube in the dark. All right, you get Dan Morgan, you move him up, right? A lot of people are not sure how they feel about this. But here's the reasons why they hired Dan Morgan. I want to make sure you understand this. Why they hired Dan Morgan. Okay? Continuity with Dan Morgan. That's number one. Sure. Let's keep the continuity with the guy who's been part of the 3-year-long circus of roster construction disasters. Morgan's been right there in the trenches, the complicity in Fitter's failings, but apparently that's not enough for Tepper to hit the reset button. Who needs a hard reset when you can stick with the same old losing formula? Number 2, the hiring committee drama. That's the thing. The hiring committee reads like who's who of decision makers, with Tepper captaining this ship, right? A mix of football backgrounds and cap analytics experts. Jim Caldwell's presence adds a touch of mystery. Maybe he was the tiebreaker. And in the should we promote Morgan or not debate. But who knows? Tepper, here's the thing, guys. Tepper might not be done. I told y'all he's not going to be done. He's going to add more cooks to this kitchen. I told you he's going to add an analytics guy. Okay? The comfort over competence seems to be the mantra here. Tepper is known for his knack of surrounding himself with yes men. Couldn't resist keeping Morgan close. Forget a hard reset. Let's stick with the familiar face who won't rock the boat, right? And Josina Anderson spills the tea on the level of trust and comfort between Tepper and Morgan. Go look at that. Make the whole interview process seem like a formality. Bryce Young and the Panthers, that whole draft debacle, right? We're just talking about it right now. What they need to do with him, right? But the quarterback chosen over CJ Stroud, Bryce, has now caused the NFL world to collectively face palm. Now the Panthers need a consensus and belief in the building. If they hire an analytics salary cap manager, which I think they will, maybe Morgan can focus on what he reportedly excels at, and that's player evaluation. But hey, no more costing cut measures. Please, for the love of God, the skill positions need some love. The skill position needs some love. I'm calling for that. Tepper's comfort zone is like a warm blanket he never wants to let go of. Marty Herney, Scott Fitter, and now Dan Morgan are all part of that comfort club. It's not about the best person for the job. It's about who won't challenge Tepper's impulsive whims. I think Dan Morgan's would test that. I think that's a new era because, I mean, some people could say it's more like a rerun of the same old sitcom with a new leading actor, but I think you're wrong if you think that. I think it's a new era. It's the same old sitcom, but with a new, right? But a new leading actor willing to step up to that protagonist. Does that make sense? And another thing, Morgan and Morgan, the law firm. Morgan and Morgan, the law firm. That's awesome. That is awesome. Another thing, can we talk about Cam Newton for a second, please? Okay. Because Cam Newton is on my shit list right now for the things he said on NFL Good Morning. Cam Newton, the man who's been playing musical chairs with the NFL teams like it's a game of duck, duck, goose. And now he reveals the only team he considered gracing his presence. Brace yourselves. It's a divisional rival, the Atlanta Falcons. Because Cam's playing hard to get, first off, but not really. He's like, it's not, he said something like, it's not even 3, just 1. Oh, how exclusive of you, Cam. It's like holding auditions, and the only one that you're getting is the one in Atlanta. All right. Must be nice to be the gatekeeper of your own football destiny. I mean, family first, though, right? In Atlanta, family matters, right? Yeah. Well, for Newton, it's all about family. But the conventional thing is that only if the family lives in Atlanta. Sorry, rest of the NFL, unless you're in the Peach State, you're just out of luck, okay? Because nothing says family by bonding with your divisional rival, right? Panthers fans got to understand one thing. Take a deep breath. Cam's revealing his true colors. Let's be honest. Cam is revealing his true colors. They're not Panther blue, but hey, he gave everything to this organization, so kudos to him. But now he's just casually eyeing the arch nemesis. The arch nemesis. Not hard feelings, right? It's just business. Or in this case, rivalry. Atlanta is in the market for a new head coach. Who's on that list? None other than Bill Belichick. Cam's old buddy in New England. Talk about a reunion. Maybe they can reminisce about the good old days while plotting on how to take us down. Oh, and let's not forget about the noble cause guiding Desmond Ridder in his development. Maybe that's what they're going to do. Because every team needs Cam Newton to show the young guns the ropes, right? Forget about mentoring in Carolina. Let's do it. Let's do it in enemy territory. If I see Cam Newton in a Falcons uniform, it's like seeing your ex with your arch enemy at a party. Honestly, it's awkward, unexpected, bound to stir up some emotions. We'll see. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it, though. They would hit Cam dirty the whole time. Fuck the Falcons. Oh, they most definitely would. Cam is just trying to put pressure on Tepper to take him off the market when no one is really looking at him on the market anyways. Maybe so. Maybe so. That's a good theory there, AJ. Like it or not, the Falcons are QB away, and he's from Atlanta. I feel you, but I don't think Cam Newton would be their guy to take him to a Super Bowl next year. Just going to be honest. Cam would probably be nothing more than Andy Dalton role in Atlanta. Probably so. I don't blame him. It's business. You're just making it personal. Yep. Cam is done playing. I think so too. I think so too. He's enjoying himself doing hopping on Barstool Sports, his own channel, hanging out with Brandon Marshall and all that. So I get it. I get it. All right, so let me make my case here, guys. So sound off in the comments as I'm going through this. Make sure you pound that like button. All right. Make sure you pound that like button, okay? Pound that like button. All right. I'm going to make my case for Evero here. Clean house or not, Evero's not an option for some. But for those screaming for a complete makeover, I think Evero's name isn't even in some people's playbook. But for those who can see through the wreckage of what happened this past year, Evero deserves more than just glance. He's not just a name. He's a potential game changer, I think. Okay. Evero's rise from the Rams to Denver. All right. Then over to Carolina. He didn't drop. This guy didn't just drop from the sky. Okay, guys, onto Mint Street. He climbed the coaching ladder with the Rams, crowned with a Super Bowl win there, then took his reins over to Denver's defense, led them to a top 10 defense, got the boot when Sean Payton's crew rolled into town, came to Carolina. So I say, why not? All right. But ignore the 2023 spreadsheet and look beyond that. Carolina's 2023 defense on paper, we're going to be honest here. I'm going to be honest here. On paper, that defense on paper was like a horror story you can't unsee. But let's be Sherlock Holmes for a moment. Now we're going to take a little moment. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that because Evero's potential doesn't live in spreadsheets. Players love him. History's shown us that the Panthers players love a defensive coordinator, and he walks away, it tends to blow up. Remember Steve Wilkes? This is the reason why I'm bringing Evero up. And the vibes matter. Enter Evero, the vibes matter. Okay. Evero brings more than X's and O's, in my opinion. Okay. The players vibe with him. Okay. The players vibe with him in the NFL, where a locker room is a living, breathing organism. Vibes matter. And Evero, I think he's really good with the vibes, and I think he would be a really good vibe hire. The Panthers can use some of that positivity, okay? The fifth thing here is that he's tough as nails. He has that he has that identity. All right, when you hear him speak, you can tell. Yeah, AJ Brooks, I can break down that cap space. I can break it down. Carolina's always been that that hard-nosed, defense first football, keep pounding wasn't just a phrase, right? It was a battle cry. Legends like Pepper, Davis, Gross, Olsen, Smith, thrived on physicality. Evero fits that mold. He fits it like a glove, guys. Forget the flashy stuff. It's about grit and physical football, right? The defense was like a Hollywood plot with more twists than a roller coaster. Injuries left the defense resembling a mash unit. Evero with his systematically sound defense had to work miracles, players off the street, unfavorable positions. Evero navigated a storm of injuries and did a damn good job. But you don't want to repeat past mistakes. And Evero's the answer, right? You don't want to make the wrong move. Okay? With the fact that of the Steve Wilkes, right? Carolina, for the love of football, don't overthink this like last season. Evero fits the mold. Players adore him. The history of the Panthers. The man's a defensive-minded leader. I don't think it's rocket science. I think it's football, right? That's what we're talking about. You hire Ejiro Evero and let the resurgence begin. The question does, though, come into play with him as well as who is going to be the offensive coordinator. That's where it comes into play. Who would be the offensive coordinator if Evero got hired? That's the question we have to ask ourselves, right? That's the question we have to ask ourselves is who would Evero hire as the next offensive coordinator? Now, keep in mind one thing. Here's one thing I want you to know about Ejiro Evero. Trying to find his resume real quick. There's something very interesting. I don't think it would be Thomas Brown, James Allen. I just don't see it in a world where he is paired back up with Thomas Brown if Evero comes in here. I don't see that. So here's Evero's resume. This is his coaching career. Okay. First off was in Tampa Bay in 2007, where he started off as a defensive quality control coach. But here's where it gets interesting because he was then he comes from that Shanahan tree. Okay. All right. He leaves Tampa Bay. He spends a 2010 season with the University of Redlands, goes back to the NFL in 2011 with the San Francisco 49ers, where he worked as the quality control coach and an offensive assistant from 2012 and 13 to 2013 and a defensive assistant from 2014 to 2015. Evero also served as a quality coach control, defensive quality control coach during the 2016 season with the Green Bay Packers. Then LA, he was served as a safety coach from 2017 to 2020. And then in 2021, 2022, Evero had his role changed to secondary coach, passing game coordinator, and he helped the Rams win a Super Bowl there. Okay. And then he served as a defensive coordinator in Denver for a season before coming over here. So the guy has some actual offensive, has an offensive background, which is pretty interesting. Knowing that in 2013 through 2012 through 2013, he was the offensive assistant there in San Fran. So that's pretty interesting. So here is my take now on Raheem Morris. I think Morris fits the mold here. And here's why. Out of anybody's resume here, and out of these last three candidates, I say the last three, but who knows? But if you look at Raheem Morris' resume, he has the best coaching resume out of everyone. Okay. Now, his first coaching stint was pretty interesting. We'll dive more into that, but here's the reason why he fits the mold. Vrabel might be the talk of the town because I've heard now his name's coming back up. So maybe they're going to interview him. I don't know. But the Panthers seem to be ghosting him for now, right? No worries, because I think Raheem Morris is in the ring. And boy, I think he fits the mold here, guys. I think he's a true leader. I really do. Because someone who doesn't need a GPS to find respect, he brings it himself, right? That's who Raheem Morris is. Okay. You ever heard of the Rams GM Les Snead? You ever heard of him? He dropped truth bombs about Raheem Morris. Let me break it down for you. Morris isn't just a coach. He's a great human being, coded to respect everyone. Snead's practically handing out testimonials like candy on Halloween. The respect for Morris commands, it's like a superpower that'll give any organization an edge. This man's got more football acumen than your grandpa's got stories. I'm telling you. He's been in defensive rooms. He's been in offensive rooms. Everywhere in between. Coached with the legendary Tampa Bay defenses. Those near Super Bowl winning Atlanta offenses. He practically got a PhD, guys, in football. There ain't many coaches on this planet with that kind of resume. Snead spilled the beans about Morris's collaborative edge. It's not just an edge, it's a full-blown advantage that most teams can only dream of. Want to know the secret sauce? Morris can hire a staff that's the stuff of legends. Every qualified coach in the universe would want a front row seat on Morris's coaching roller coaster. Even Jalen Ramsey has given this guy a seal of approval. He's seen the Morris magic. He vouched for him. Jalen Ramsey has. When Ramsey says, when a guy like Jalen Ramsey says a coach is top notch, you have to pay attention. It's not just Snead singing Morrison's praise. It's the players who've been in the trenches with this guy. Morris isn't a rookie in the head coaching game. He's been there, done that, got a t-shirt. Okay, maybe not in his early 30s, but he's got experience. And sure, there might be some question marks about the offensive philosophy, but hey, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for results. Hiring a first-time head coach, that's a gamble with more risk than a poker game in Vegas. Morris, on the other hand, knows the ropes. He's been in the interim in Atlanta. He's got the scars to prove it. The man is well prepared. And with Morris, you're not rolling the dice or making a calculated move here. If there's a belief about this guy, scratch that. If there's a strong belief that coaches and players will want to flock to the Carolina with Morris, then what's there to worry about? Get quality people in the building, and the rest will sort itself out. Morris brings not just a playbook, but a squad that'll make Carolina a force to be reckoned with. I think the bottom line here is that hire Raheem Morris. He's not just a coach. He's the missing piece of the puzzle. The man brings respect, experience, football IQ that'll make your head spin. I just don't think we need to overthink this anymore, and you need to make the move. I said the same thing about Dave Canales, but then I had to do my research on Mr. Raheem Morris, and his resume speaks volumes. He's a two-time Super Bowl winner. He's worked under the Shanahan tree. He would actually have been a Super Bowl winner if they wouldn't have dropped that overtime defeat to New England and Atlanta. You know that one Toxic Black, that one y'all were up 28-3 that y'all lost? Y'all remember that? You remember that? Raheem Morris was y'all's assistant head coach and defensive back coach. But his resume speaks for itself. He also comes from that Sean McVay background too. He knows what it takes to win. I think Raheem Morris would be a top-notch guy. Toxic coming in here trying to talk all that bull. Toxic trying to come in here and talk all that bull. But that's my take on Raheem Morris, guys. I think that he's got. If you go look at his resume, it's better than Canales. It's better than Evero. If I'm going based off resumes and I'm picking the guy with the more experience, knows what it takes to win. Yeah, but y'all's team was ass at that time, Toxic. I didn't like you go look at that roster he was coaching. Y'all's team was ass. And he was kind of just thrown to the wolves. I mean, I would have lost a lot of games too if I got thrown to the wolves like that. I just think if you're going based off resume, Raheem Morris's resume is a lot better than Canales and Everos. But when it comes to Raheem Morris and Canal and Evero, who are they hiring as their offensive coordinator? So we will see how this whole coaching tree and carousel pans out. We'll see if they finally bring in that analytics guy to be that Robin for Dan Morgan. I also have done my draft board. So my draft board is done, everyone. My draft boards are done. Y'all want to see my draft boards? Would y'all like to see the draft boards? Sound off in the comment if you want to see my draft boards. These aren't mock drafts. These are how I rank the players. I give them their heights, their weights, their vertical jumps, their bench presses, and then I leave a comment of what I think about them. Okay. AJ Brooks. Oh, to your comment about the cap space. So I've gone over it before, my friend. And I'll be honest with you. We're going to have to eat some dead cap, everyone, just so you know. If we want to fix the cap issues, we're going to have to take some dead cap. It's just the way it is. Because even though we don't want to eat that dead cap, and I don't want to eat that dead cap either, we're going to have to eat some of that dead cap. Unfortunately, we are. It is what it is. That's just how it is. If you want to get rid of some of these players and add on to the salary cap, we're going to have to eat some dead cap. That's the only thing I'm going to tell you. There are some guys out there that you can I don't think this is it. No, this is not it. All right, hold on. I got a bunch of separate. So I got the QBs here, running backs here, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive tackles. What's this? What's this one? Centers. What's this one? Guards. Okay. Hold on. I got some more up here. I got to pull them up. Give me a second, guys. I'm pulling up these draft boards for you. They're all in separate files, so you're going to have to bear with me here. All right. So I got that one. What's this? This one. Defensive tackles. Okay. Got that. Come on. It's taking a hot minute to load. Give me a second. So many of these damn things, man. I wanted to put them all in one Excel spreadsheet, but that is going to take way too long. Okay, defensive ends. Now, the defensive ends and the edge rushers are going to be very similar because some of these guys can play both. All right. Dolphins fired Vic Fangio. Good. He sucks. He is absolutely ass. Not gonna lie to you guys. Vic Fangio is ass. He is a straight ass defensive coordinator. All right, so I got linebackers and then corners. Here we go. Last two. Vic Fangio is an ass of a defensive coordinator. I'm just letting y'all know now. All right, let's start with the quarterbacks. Draft board. Draft board. So this is just a little something I made. Okay, this is nothing. This is just I made this in a Word document in Google. Okay. All right. So obviously I didn't add the team names yet. I don't know why I didn't do that, but this is how I have it. So Caleb Williams, I got him at number 1 for the quarterback position. I got his weight. He's 6'1", 215. Got his 40 time. He's a 4.59 40. Positional rank, I got him at 1. Overall rank, I've got him 1.9, which means I have him going basically first overall. But Caleb Williams, obviously, we all know he's a highly regarded one of the best quarterback prospects coming out. A lot of people believe this guy's the next coming up Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to be a bust, honestly. But I put him at 1 because I just don't want, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be as good as everybody thinks he is. If you go look at his record against top 25 teams, he's like 2-8. Okay. I think he's got all the intangibles, like it says here. He's got the outstanding combination of athletic skills, arm talent, overall precision. I think he's got all that. But the thing is I think he can last in the NFL, but can he win the big games? Because like I said, I've looked at his top 25 against top 25 teams. He's 2-8. I think maybe he might not be a bust. Maybe that's a little bit too far to say. But can he win the big games? I need him to show me he can win the big games. Drake May out of North Carolina. He's 6'4", 230. Runs a 4.6 40. I've got him at number 2. Overall ranking 3.6. Drake May is a quarterback prospect who ticks all the boxes for top-tier NFL quarterbacks. Strong arm, ideal size, mobility, contributes to his high ranking in this draft class. I like Drake May. I think it fits the mold for the NFL-type quarterback. Jalen Daniels, Mr. Heisman winner. I got him at 3. Michael Penix, I got him at 4. Bo Nix, I got him at 5. JJ McCarthy at 6. Spencer Rattler at 7. Not just because I'm a homer. Michael Pratt at 8 out of Tulane. Jordan Travis at 9. Joe Milton at 10. Sam Hartman at 11. And Tulia Tungavailoa at 12. Next up, running backs. I got 1, Jonathan Brooks. 2, Trey Benson. 3, Blake Corum. 4, Bucky Irving. 5, Audric Esteem. 6, Ray Davis. 7, Marshawn Lloyd. 8, Will Shipley. 9, Dylan Johnson. 10, Dylan Lowby. 11, Braylon Allen. 12, Jalen Wright. I got 13, I got Cody Schrader. 14, Frank Gore Jr. And 15, Isaiah Davis. Yeah, he's 5'11". Honestly, I think a sneaker, like a sleeper pick, I think Joe Milton might be a sleeper pick in this draft, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. The dude's got a freaking cannon, a massive cannon. I've seen the guy throw the ball 80 yards, just one step forward and throw. It's ridiculous. The guy's got all the. He reminds me of another Anthony Richardson. Will Shipley is going to the draft. I'm pretty sure. I hope I didn't put him on this list for no reason. I've seen him on other people's draft boards. Yeah, he declared for the draft 3 weeks ago. So toxic. He is going to the draft. So these are my top running backs, my top wide receivers. I know we want to see this one. All right. Y'all ready? Can we talk while Will Shipley is above Braylon Allen, bigger and faster? AJ Brooks. I can make a case. But let's talk about it at another time. All right, here's my draft board for wide receivers. Obviously, got number 1 Marvin Harrison, right? Number 2, I got Malik Neighbors. 3, Roma Duzier. 4, Keon Coleman. 5, Troy Franklin. 6, Xavier Legette. 7, Brian Thomas. 8, Adonia Mitchell. 9, Lad Monkey. 10, Xavier Worthy. 11, Devontae Walker. 12, Jermaine Burton. I need to add some comments to Jalen Polk. There's some guys I need to fix up on these boards, which I will. 13, Jalen Polk. 14, Brendan Rice. 15, Ricky Parasol. 16, Johnny Wilson. 17, Malachi Corley. 18, Jalen McMillan. 19, Roman Wilson. 20, Jameer Thrash. Sorry. 21, Jacob Cowing. 22, Ananias Smith. 23, Malik Washington. 24, Luke McCaffrey. Any questions on those? Hopefully not. A little bit, James. A little bit. Just a little bit. Kind of puts my mind at ease. Vrabel is meeting tonight with Carolina. AJ Brooks coming in hot. Wow. That's some news. Tight ends. Obviously, we all know who number 1 is. Toxic. Yes, they are 2 different builds. I would say that Shipley is more of a power runner than CMC is. I think he's more elusive. CMC is definitely more elusive, but I think that kind of does have that CMC vibe a little bit. More maybe more like that Saquon vibe, but not as big. Does that make it better, Toxic? All right, tight ends. Brock Bowers, obviously number 1. Okay. Obviously, 3, Cade Stover. Number 4, Jaheim Bell. Okay. Number 5, Ben Sinnott. Number 6, Dalen Holker. Number 7, Theo Johnson. Number 8, McAllen Castles. Trey Knox at 9. 10, AJ Barner. And that's it. All right, offensive tackles. Offensive tackles. I'm lagging a little bit. Sorry, guys. What is going on? Interesting. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right, let's go to the offensive tackles. Share this tab instead. All right, let's move on. Joe Alt, number 1. Definitely an early first rounder. Number 2, Olumie Iwa Fashanu. I don't even know if I pronounced this guy's name correct. All right, but I got him at 2. Talisie Fuage, I got him at 3. Again, probably botching the shit out of these guys' names, but I've watched game film on them. I know who they are. JC Latham out of Alabama. 4, Amarius Mims. 5, Jordan Morgan. 6, Troy Fuatanu. 7, Graham Barton. 8, Tyler Guyton. 9, Patrick Paul. 10, Karen Amedagaji. 11, Kingsley Suamate. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing these guys right, man. I'm sorry. Listen, I've watched game film on all these guys. I'm just telling you. If I'm botching their names, just bash me in the comments. I don't care. Blake Fisher. See, I can get that name right. Matt Gonzalez. And Dominique Puni. So those are your top. These are my top guys. Centers. Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon's number 1 for me. Zach Frazier out of West Virginia is number 2 for me. Cedric Van Pran, I'm very high on at 3. But Boix Limmer out of Arkansas is 4. Drake Nugent out of Michigan is 5. Sincere Hainsworth out of Tulane is 6. Delmar Glaze out of Maryland is 7. Andrew Rame out of Oklahoma is 8. Tanner Bortolini out of Wisconsin is 9. Kingsley Kunu out of Florida is 10. All right, offensive guard. Christian Haynes out of Connecticut. I got him at 1. Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State. I got him at 2. Christian Mahogany. I got him at 3. Zach Zinter at 4. Javon Cohen out of Miami at 5. Layden Robinson out of Texas A&M 6. Aki Bibi or B out of Texas A&M 7. Trevor Keegan out of Michigan, I got him at 8. Matthew Jones out of Ohio State, I got him at 9. And McCade Mature out of Oklahoma, I got him at 10. Defensive tackle. Who said they wanted to see defensive line? Toxic? Who you got for defensive line? All right, so your defensive tackles. My number 1 guy is Mekhi Wingo. My number 2 guy is Rookie Orhorhor. I don't even know how to pronounce some of these guys' names, man. I just look up. I just know who they are, but I can't. I'll be honest with you. Their names, forget about it. Mason Smith. Thank you. That's simple. Number 3, I got him at 3. Michael Hall Jr. at 4. Tyler Davis at 5. Dwayne Carter at 6. Jordan Jefferson at 7. Jaden Krumati out of Mississippi State, 8. Yeah. At 9, DeMonte Capehart. At 10, I got Nathan Pickering. Defensive ends. Okay. Number 1, I got Jared Verse. Number 2, Braylon Trice. Number 3, Chop Robinson. Number 4, Jonah Ellis. Number 5, Brandon Dorless. Number 6, Adiza Isaac. Number 7, Marshawn Keenley. Number 8, Cedric Johnson. Number 9, Austin Booker. Number 10, Zion Tupoloe Fatu. Don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Edge rushers. Some of these might remain the same. Liatu, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, Braylon Trice, because they can play multiple positions, linebacker or edge. Chris Broswell, Chop Robinson, Jonah Ellis, Chris Jenkins, Brandon Dorless, Adiza Isaac. Linebacker, same thing. Some guys are going to be in here. Dallas Turner, number 1. Chris Broswell, number 2. Edgar and Cooper, number 3. Jeremiah Trotter, number 4. Number 5, Peyton Wilson. Number 6, Junior Colson. Number 7, Marista Lafayu. Number 8, Javon Solomon. Number 9, Tommy Eisenberg. Number 10, Cedric Gray. Number 11, Tyrone Hopper. Number 12, Eddie Fuwan Olufashio. You tell me I'm supposed to understand these people's names? Let's get to the cornerback position. This is my last one I've made. Cooper DeJean, number 1. Nate Wiggins, 2. Kool-Aid McKinstry, 3. Taron Arnold, 4. Kamari Lassiter, 5. Quentin Mitchell, 6. Enos Rakestraw Jr., 7. Kalen King, 8. Josh Newton, Kalen King, 9, sorry. TJ Tampa, 8. Kalen King, 9. Josh Newton, 10. DJ James, 11. And Kalen Carson, 12. So that's just a quick run through. One of these days we'll hammer out. Maybe I can get this put into an Excel spreadsheet and make it look a lot nicer. And probably give you a little bit more detail on each and every one of those cats. Might do that. So, guys, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound the like button, subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask. We'll always leave a comment. Love to hear y'all's thoughts as we always go throughout every show. Make sure you join the Discord. The link tree is down below. Make sure you follow me on all my social media. Very active on all those. Instagram, I'm going to be honest with you, it's more of my personal life, but you're more than welcome to come and follow me there. BetUS is a sponsorship of today's video. So go check them out. As always, every live stream video, we are sponsored by BetUS. Sign up for free today. You get 125 bonus on your initial deposit. So go check it out. But guys, I'm gonna hop off of here. We've been on here for about 2 hours going on now. I'm gonna hop off of here and get some of my regular workday work done for the rest of the day. So I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you like and subscribe. That's all I ask. And as always, y'all know what to do. Keep pounding. Peace.